Hello, welcome back. It is day 3 of Process Art Discipleship Week. We are together looking at what is process art and how can we use that to help our kids hear from the Holy Spirit. This can be used in church or at home. And then also, we're thinking, why should we use crafts? When should we use crafts? Should we use crafts? Um, and so this is from a workshop that I led a few weeks ago at the Children's Spirituality Summit. And today we are talking about messages. I am a certified parent coach with Connected Families, and I love helping parents to use the Connected Families framework in their home because it is discipline that disciples. And I am all about discipling kids because I didn't necessarily get that as a child. Did not um I did not know that Jesus was for me today. And I knew about Jesus, but what I thought Jesus was about was I thought he died so I could go to heaven. The end. I did not realize that he died so that I could have abundant life today, so that I could be in a relationship with him today. And man, that could have changed my life. That would have changed my life because it did when I found out about this relationship with Jesus. And so I want to equip children's ministry leaders and parents to make sure their kids know that Jesus isn't just about going to heaven when we die. It is about today. And so the way we talk to kids, the way we treat kids, the way we speak about children, the opportunities we offer, the way we listen to them, the way we wonder with them, all of these have an impact on their understanding of who Jesus is for them. And I grew up going to church on Sunday through at least through second or third grade. And then, but at home, it didn't really we didn't really talk about Jesus at home. I grew up in the South, so he was part of the culture. We talked about him on holidays. We prayed, at Christmas and Thanksgiving and Easter, but he wasn't a part of the daily life that I lived. And so these messages that we send kids are important. The messages I received about Jesus when I was a child was Jesus died so you could go to heaven, which means, child, you don't need Jesus until you're dead. That's what I heard. That's what I believed. And so we are going to make sure that any kids that we have the opportunity to spend time with know that he is for them today. Today. All right. So let's jump in. We are going to share screen. All right. So, no more crafts, right? We've been talking about this all week. If you've not watched Mondays or Tuesdays, I highly recommend you go back and watch those. It all builds. This was a hour-long workshop that I did a couple weeks ago, but I wanted to make it a little more bite-sized. So, um, so today we are just talking about messages and we are answering a question that I got via email. So we will do that at the end of this time. So we talked yesterday that children's learning is both a process of meaning making and the formation of an identity within a community of practice. So that community of practice might be your home if you are a parent, or it could be your church, or if you do Awana, whatever else. All of those are communities, right? Your home is a community of faith practice. So your child needs to have an identity built, and that will help them learn. So that identity is formed partially by the messages we send our children. So let's look at these crafts that we looked at yesterday. This is kind of classic fishes and loaves, Jesus feeding the 5,000. These are classic crafts, and I found multiple different copies. It's the white, you could see the white paper plate, you cut it in half, and then you staple it. And I am guessing that the adult cut out those fish, cut out those loaves, cut stapled the basket together. You could tell that the adult wrote the Bible verse on there. And then the other one, the adults probably cut those things out. The children may have colored them, um, but the adults walked them step by step and did a lot of the craft for them. Now, these are just images that I pulled from Pinterest. So I know the people who did these have great intentions. It is not about our intentions. It is right now, today, what we're talking about is what messages are we unintentionally sending our children? So here are some of the messages that I came up with, and the group that I shared this with, I had about, I think it was 45 um, children's ministry leaders in my workshop a couple weeks ago. And so here are some of the messages we came up with. What is important is how many fish and how much bread. So, child, you only need to know the facts that there were 2 fish and 5 loaves. Child, you're not capable of cutting out fish. I need to do it for you. Child, you're not capable of stapling. I need to do it for you. Child, you're not capable of deciding how to express yourself um, through art. Child, you're not capable of listening to the Holy Spirit and deciding what's important in the story. Child, I need to teach you. That's just a few of them, right? Child, maybe you're not creative, or maybe, child, this space is not a space for you to express your creativity. If you have other ideas, other thoughts that you're hearing, I would love you to put those in the comments. I know when this goes to replay that the chat's not available anymore. So put it in the comments. What other messages can you see from these? Child, you're the same as everybody else in the class, right? Um, Look at those 3 copies, and they're almost identical, maybe different shades of blue and brown, but child, you're not unique. And those things are not true. And these are not messages that I know of. I don't know anybody in children's ministry who wants to share those messages or who intends to share those messages with their children. But those are the messages our children can hear when we present them with these kinds of crafts. So, as I mentioned, I'm a Connected Families certified parent coach, and I work with children's ministry leaders, helping them to use this framework in their ministry, and also work with parents to help them use this framework in their homes. I have a membership for Christian moms, which is super, super affordable. And you get weekly coaching calls with me. Typical parent coaching is like over hundreds of dollars per hour. But in this membership, for only $47 a month, you get a weekly call with me on Zoom in a small group. We It is it is still just a couple months old, so we're a very small group, but twice a month we have open Q&A, and then once a month we talk about this framework, and then once a month we also talk more about discipleship. So we do discipline once a month, we do discipleship once a month, and we do all of it with the heart of play, with using purposeful play. And you also get some fun printables that use purposeful play to disciple children. So, in Connected Families, this is the framework that we use, and each level of the framework speaks a different message. The foundation, we're just going to go through this real quickly. The foundation is where we start with kids. And this is really about us as adults having our relationship with Christ in a good place, our hearts, our emotions being in a good place so that the child is safe with us. The message we want to communicate is you are safe with me. And children need to feel safe to be able to think well. So, and to be able to be creative. So, safety is the primary concern of the brain. Then we move into connect, and you are loved no matter what is the message that we want to send children in this level of the framework. And then coach. This is helping our kids to grow and to learn. And we speak the message, child, you are called and capable. And finally, correcting, child, you are responsible for your actions. If you want to know more about what this looks like for discipline, hear more about using this in your church, I would love to set up a free Zoom call with you. So you can contact me, joy@createdtoplay.com. I'll put that in the description. Just reach out and we will connect over Zoom. We could talk about what discipline looks like in your ministry or in your home. Um, but I want to look at these messages and go back to these are some of the examples of process art. And I want to look at those messages and can we find those 4 messages and other beneficial messages in process art? So when we look at these, we say, child, you are safe to explore what the Holy Spirit might be saying to you. Child, you are safe to decide what your reflections and creativity looks like. Child, you are safe to experiment and wonder. Child, you are safe to be you, right? Child, you are safe to just play and 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 kind of explore, process art without needing to have something to take home. You're safe to just spend that time. All right? Then you are loved no matter what. You are loved no matter what your project looks like, your art looks like. You are loved if your product looks different than somebody else. You are unique. You are loved if you want to focus on a different part of the story than what I would do. Child, you are called and capable. You are called by God to hear his words and respond. You are capable of hearing the Holy Spirit. You are capable of responding to the Holy Spirit. You are capable of teaching me. You are capable of understanding the story. You are capable of doing more than memorizing the facts of a story. You are capable to use materials wisely. And then finally, you are responsible. You are responsible for reflecting on the part of the story that stood out to you. You are responsible for listening to the Holy Spirit. You are responsible for your faith. We get to walk alongside you, but you are responsible for what you learn, what you take away. That's not our job as a parent or as a children's ministry leader. It's not our job to decide what is most important to the child and what they take away. So, those are just some of the messages that I have thought through using the Connected Families framework, that together as a group of nearly 50 children's ministry leaders, we came up with of those messages that we can send children by offering them process art. Brene Brown wrote, "We are born makers. We move what we're learning from our heads to our hearts through our hands." I love that. Play is very hands-on. It is interactive. It is engaging. Play is active. It's not passive. And that means using our hands, or sometimes it might be feet or your whole body, but it is through that movement. It is through that movement. So I love that quote. So I would welcome any questions in the chat. You can put them in the comments. You can email them to me. I do want to share one question that was presented to me via email. And so the question was, this children's ministry worker has tried this in class. And when she first presented it, um, the children didn't know really how to do process art. They felt timid. Um, they were judging their own work. And so, what do you do with that? Was kind of the question. And I would say that that means they don't feel safe yet. So we need to continue to try um, again. And I would start, if that is the case, I would start with it being just a few minutes and maybe offering another activity at the same time. So offering block play or dress up play or musical instruments or something else at the same time, so that it is an open, safe place for them to experiment. I would also make sure not to use too many examples of what it should look like. Often with crafts, step by step crafts, we show them a picture of what it's supposed to look like. And then kids follow along and they know what it's supposed to look like. But with process art, there is no what it's supposed to look like. And so at first, for kids who have not had practice doing this, that can feel very overwhelming at first because they are not used, especially older children, as they get into elementary school and are doing art lessons at school and crafts in other places, or excuse me, have been doing crafts for many years. We saw on Monday in the NASA study that by age 10, it had dropped from 98% creative level or genius level creativity to 30% just from ages 4 to 10. So It doesn't mean that they aren't creative. It means that they've not had an opportunity to safely explore creativity. So I would just, again, suggest offering it for short periods of time, um, and make it feel really safe so that they can stop when they're done. They don't have to do it at all. It's an optional thing, but they don't feel like, oh, I'm supposed to do this art project for the next 20 minutes now, because that could be overwhelming too. So short, then if you can, you could either send home materials with them if they want to finish it at home, or if you can have it be an optional thing where there's other things they can do and they can do it as long as they want. Then also ask open-ended questions about the art. So instead of coming to it with a judgment of, "Oh, I like how you used pink here, but green here," um, ask questions about it. "Oh, I noticed that you've got pink and green. Can you tell me about that?" And so we don't wanna put our judgments on there. So we want to just be listening, noticing what things are there, and then listening for them to be able to determine the value. And then if they're worried about judging it, then it also might mean that that's not the right medium for them. My oldest daughter um, did an art, like a summer art camp, and they got to explore with different things. And one day they did chalk pastels, and it was not her favorite because she lacked the ability to control it because it was a very messy medium. And so she was judging herself because she couldn't put it in the places she wanted it without it smearing everywhere. And so we discovered that was not the right medium for her. And then she tried oil pastels and really liked those because she had more control over it. So trying different things, different mediums, different uh, types of things, giving them time, giving them for kids who have not had that experience to do it, even the first couple of times can feel jarring because they don't know what to expect. So they need to feel safe in there. And that's going to take time. That's going to take practice. That's going to take you modeling, doing it, and then maybe saying when something doesn't go right, saying, "Oh, I had really hoped that this watercolor was gonna stay over here, but then look, it blurred into this one over here. That's not what I intended, but I can breathe and it will be okay. It's not about what it looks like. It's about me having fun and listening to all the Holy Spirit throughout the process." So I hope that is helpful with that question. Um, Trying different things, shortening the time, making it optional, giving different activities so they can come and go, um, asking them open-ended questions, modeling what happens when things don't go the way you want, and then just time to experiment, time to help them to learn to feel safe in that process. So, um, I hope that was helpful for you. I'm so grateful for you guys watching this. We will be back tomorrow, and tomorrow is going to be all about the Holy Spirit and ways we can teach our kids to, now that we know what process art is, um, and the messages that it sends. Now we're going to talk about the Holy Spirit, ways to help kids learn to recognize and discern from the Holy Spirit. And then on Friday, we're going to talk about some practical projects that we can do and how to come up with them. So have a wonderful day. If you have questions or would like to learn more about the membership or coaching for discipline in the classroom or discipline at your home, discipline that disciples, then please reach out joy@createdtoplay.com, or you can find me on Instagram and send me a DM there. There I am at Created to Play. Have a great day. Bye.